everyone. Welcome to the second week of the Courier and Daily Comment's Prep Preview Show. My name is Chris Singleton, sports writer here at the Courier and Daily Comment. I'm joined by sports editor of the Courier and Daily Comment, Brent St. Whole bunch of great games on tap for you this week, starting with
a good showdown between two rivals, Edie White and Assumption. I mean, both teams had some real interesting games last week. Edie White played Vanderbilt last week. Went down to 30 seconds. Edie White was leading. Vanderbilt scored 2 touchdowns in the final 30 seconds to pull out the 27-24 win. Assumption, on the other hand, first game back for Coach Don Torres, and I mean, he's been at Assumption before. Every time he's been there, they win, and exactly what they did against Live Oak. These two teams recently faced off in the Thibodeau Jamboree, with Assumption getting the 13-7 win. So, you know, Edie White's got that sense of revenge. They won on this game after that first Jamboree game playing, and you know, it's not what you want, not how you want to start the season. You know, with a loss in the Jamboree, come back with this next loss. So you got a hungry Edie White team, but against an Assumption team with something to prove. And also, I mean, Edie White put up some big numbers last week. Dylan Leday ran for 105 yards. Grant Chasson passed for 71 yards. And for Assumption, they also put some big numbers in their win over Live Oak last week. They had 375 yards rushing, led by Chris Johnson's 159 yards and 1 touchdown. Hunter Gotro only threw the ball 4 times, but 2 of them were for touchdowns for 93 yards. So, I mean, the Assumption offense is clicking right now. They had 33 points in that second quarter, which was real big for that game. You know, they got some momentum going, and to see how they carry that on into this second week of the season. A 2-0 start for Assumption can go a long way for them to get power points and possibly return to the playoffs after a few years' absence. And Edie White's just hungry to get that first win, you know, because, I mean, they're a team that's ranked in the top 10 right now. And I mean, they want to prove to everybody that last week, you know, it was just a tough loss against a rival team that it can come back and rebound against a good Assumption team.
And another big game, of course, we have in our area is right here at Tom B. Smith Stadium here in Houma, between Lafayette and Terrebonne. You know, when you look at Terrebonne, they're coming off a huge 70-0 win over Ellender last week, scoring 10 touchdowns on 34 offensive plays. They also did a great job racking up yards, finished with 464 yards and 14 first downs against Ellender. Overall, offense, defense, special teams, the Tigers just got it done against Ellender. Really outmatched a young and inexperienced Ellender team. And coming into this Friday, they're going to place the Lafayette team, which is also coming off a big win in their first week. Lafayette knocked off Cohen 48-6 last week. It's going to be a very good game here at Tom B. Smith Stadium. Of course, last year Terrebonne went to Lafayette and knocked off Lafayette 35-6. But after that game, they kind of struggled because, you know, they lost 4 of their last 6 games. Coming into this week, the main thing for the Tigers is having that consistency. You know,
Right.
That's one thing that they didn't do last year. They weren't able to, you know, carry momentum from week to week. You know, they would win one game and then they would lose the next. You know,
Right.
Of course, this game is also going to mean a lot for power points too,
Right.
because if the Tigers come out here and get a win against Lafayette, they're going to get some points that are going to help them in non-district and help them, you know, later on in the season as they get ready for the playoffs. Some players for the Tigers are standing out. Quarterback Mike Williams only missed 1 pass last week. You know,
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, just incredible offensive showing from Tigers last week. 10 touchdowns on 34 offensive plays. And that's not the only game in our local area this week. We have a couple of games down here in Terrebonne Parish. We have Ellender at South Terrebonne. The key for Ellender, they have a lot of young players, but you know, they're going to have to find a way to get some experience to those guys.
And they got to find a way to get the ball into Jermaine Johnson's hands.
Exactly.
I mean, he's their playmaker. I mean, he's the guy that makes that offense go. If they can't get the ball in his hands, it could be another long night.
And look at South Terrebonne, they're coming off a huge road win last week in Lafayette over Como. Quarterback Javon Smith, in his first start as a Gator quarterback, had a very impressive game, passing for 237 yards. So if the Gators can keep their mind on the prize, you know, they shouldn't have any problems. Another game, Vanderbilt Catholic at St. Charles Catholic. For Vanderbilt, the key is avoiding turnovers. They had 4 turnovers last week. You know, it didn't hurt them in the end, but still, you want to be able to protect the football, especially against St. Charles Catholic, a team that is always good every year under Coach Frank Monica. Another game involving the Terrebonne Parish team is on Saturday at 2:30, H.R. Bourgeois and Carver. H.R. Bourgeois, a lot of inexperience on offense. You know, offensive line returning all new starters. Defensively, they just have to make plays and keep opponents off the field. A couple of games on the Lafourche side as well.
Well, another big one on the Lafourche side actually is on the road. Thibodeau goes to Destrehan. They're not that like they were in the past when Jordan Jefferson, but it's still a good Destrehan team. For Thibodeau, you got to look at Joshua Johnson. Rushed for almost 200 yards last week, scored 3 touchdowns. Thibodeau's looking for a guy who can be a playmaker who can replace Trevon Reed, who was at Auburn. It could be Joshua Johnson. Another team who won their first game last week is in action this week. It's going to be the Central Lafourche Trojans. They get a Turling Catholic team. Felix Gerard came in here and did something kind of like a little different for Central Lafourche. They were throwing the ball, not much, but they were effective. Threw 3 touchdowns, almost over 100 yards passing for the Trojans. If they can throw the ball with that triple option offense, they can be a player in this district. You know, and everybody knows the triple option. It's run first, run second, run third, hopefully to throw in the 4th time. St. James this week's got Westgate on the schedule. This was originally supposed to be Redemptress on the schedule, but Redemptress and Patterson are playing a game at Nichols Friday night on ESPN, so St. James had to find an opponent. They picked up Redemptress opponent at Westgate. People around here remember Westgate. Did a team that knocked out South Lafourche last year. Then also on Saturday, South Lafourche is playing Columbia High out of Florida. You got a defensive tackle named Tim Journey, one of the top defensive linemen in the state of Florida. That's big when you're one of the top recruits out of the state of Florida. Florida has great football. But Coach Farmer has this team on the right track. He'll turn that around quickly and they'll get that win this week. So Chris, it looks like we got another exciting week 2 of high school football. You know, last week we had our overtimes, our double overtimes, our triple overtimes, our last second wins, our blowouts. Who knows what's in store for this week?
We're looking forward to everything that's going to happen in week 2 this Friday, and hopefully everybody get out to the games, have fun, and you know, join us again next week.